This is the story of Elon Musk. But this isn't just a biography. We're going to decode the exact mindset and strategies that took him from zero to being one of the most influential people on the planet. Let's dive into the incredible journey of the real-life Iron Man. He was the young lad who was brutally bullied and spent his childhood in the shadow of his brilliant father, the college student who slept on a couch in a cramped office to afford rent. The entrepreneur who, at the age of 30, risked his entire $180 million fortune on two companies that everyone said would fail. And he became the man who revolutionized electric cars, reignited the space race, and amassed a fortune of over $200 billion. He did it not by following the rules, but by breaking them, by believing he could solve problems so grand, most people thought they were pure science fiction. Welcome to the success stories of millionaires. Can you become a millionaire by following our protagonist's formula? Let's find out. Stick with me to the end to learn the 5 key strategies Elon Musk used to build his empire. Strategies you can apply to be your own successful entrepreneur, starting today. First, don't forget to hit that like button right now. And second, click subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into the success stories of millionaires. Now let's get back to the story of a lonely boy who is about to escape into a world of books and code. Our story begins in Pretoria, South Africa. Elon Musk was born in 1971 into a family of high achievers, but his childhood was deeply unhappy. He was a small, introverted, and intellectually precocious child who didn't fit in. He was brutally bullied, once being beaten so severely he had to be hospitalized. His home life was also difficult, leaving him feeling isolated. His escape was books. He became a voracious reader, often consuming 2 books a day, diving into science fiction and encyclopedias. The catalyst for his future wasn't a single business idea, but a single burning question that formed in his mind as a teenager. What will most affect the future of humanity? He identified 3 areas: the internet, sustainable energy, and becoming a multi-planetary species. This wasn't a passing thought. It was a mission statement that would guide his entire life. His first entrepreneurial venture came at age 12. He taught himself how to code and created a video game called Blastar, which he sold to a computer magazine for $500. It was a small success, but it proved 2 things. He could teach himself incredibly complex skills, and he could create something from nothing. At 17, seeking greater opportunity and to avoid serving in the South African military, he moved to Canada. He attended Queen's University and later the University of Pennsylvania, where he earned degrees in economics and physics. This combination was critical. It gave him the ability to understand the laws of the universe and the principles of business, a powerful fusion. In 1995, at 24, he was accepted into a PhD program at Stanford University. But after just 2 days, he dropped out. He saw the internet boom happening in real time and knew he had to be a part of it. The risk was immense. He was leaving a prestigious path for complete uncertainty. With his brother Kimball, he started his first company, Zip2. The early days of Zip2 were a grind. The brothers rented a small office that doubled as their apartment. They showered at the local YMCA. Elon coded relentlessly, often working 7 days a week. Zip2 was a simple but novel idea. It provided business directories and maps for newspapers, essentially an early version of Google Maps and Yelp combined. He spent his days trying to convince skeptical newspaper executives to buy his service, often facing rejection. But his vision and persistence paid off. In 1999, as the dot-com frenzy peaked, Compaq Computer Corporation acquired Zip2 for $307 million in cash. Musk's share was $22 million. At 27, he was a millionaire, but he wasn't satisfied. He immediately poured $10 million of his new fortune into his next venture, spacex.com. His vision was to create an online financial service that would disrupt traditional banking. It was a chaotic startup, plagued by technical issues and internal conflicts. Its main competitor was a company called Confinity, run by Peter Thiel, which had a product called PayPal. Instead of fighting a brutal war, the two companies decided to merge in 2000. The merger was rocky, and Musk was eventually ousted as CEO while on a flight to meet investors. Despite this personal setback, his belief in the company never wavered. He remained the largest shareholder. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion in stock. As the largest shareholder, Musk walked away with $180 million after taxes. He was 31 years old and could have retired on a beach for the rest of his life. But he remembered the question from his youth. He was now armed with the capital to start answering it, and his first target was the final frontier: space. In 2002, Musk founded Space Exploration Technologies, or SpaceX. His goal was audacious: to make humanity a multiplanetary species by reducing the cost of space travel. He traveled to Russia 3 times to try to buy a refurbished intercontinental ballistic missile, but was laughed at and quoted exorbitant prices. On the flight home, frustrated, he ran the numbers and realized he could build the rockets himself for a fraction of the cost. He invested $100 million of his PayPal fortune into SpaceX. He was now betting half his net worth on a company that had zero revenue and operated in an industry dominated by governments and defense contractors. It was considered insane. Meanwhile, in 2004, he led the Series A funding round for a small, ambitious electric car startup called Tesla Motors, founded by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. He became the chairman of the board and took an active role in product development. He believed that for humanity to have a future, it needed sustainable transport. The next 4 years would be the most grueling of his life. Both companies were burning through cash at an alarming rate. The grind was brutal. At SpaceX, the first 3 launches of the Falcon 9 rocket ended in catastrophic failure. With only enough parts for one final rocket, the company was on the brink of collapse. The pressure was unimaginable. In 2008, the global financial crisis hit, making it nearly impossible to raise new funds. At the same time, Tesla was also failing. The development of the Roadster was plagued with cost overruns. The company was running out of money and needed another round of funding to survive. Musk was faced with an impossible choice: save one company or risk losing both. He made his decision. He invested his last $40 million into Tesla, leaving him with just a few $1,000,000 to live on. He bet everything. He later called 2008 the worst year of my life. He was dealing with the collapse of his first marriage, the financial crisis, and the simultaneous failure of his 2 life's missions. Then, the breakthrough. In September 2008, the 4th Falcon 9 rocket launched from Kwajalein Atoll. This time, it worked. It became the first privately developed liquid-fueled rocket to reach orbit. The team at SpaceX erupted in celebration. They had done the impossible. Just months later, on Christmas Eve, with Tesla hours from bankruptcy, Musk closed a vital funding round, securing the last of the needed capital from existing investors who agreed to match his own investment. He had saved both companies, but only by the skin of his teeth. That same month, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to resupply the International Space Station, validating his entire approach. The crisis was over. The grind had paid off. With survival secured, the real revolution began. This was the era of relentless execution and scaling. At SpaceX, he pioneered reusable rockets. While the entire aerospace industry threw away rockets after one use, Musk's team focused on the seemingly impossible task of landing them. After several dramatic, explosive failures, they succeeded. In 2015, a Falcon 9 rocket launched a payload into orbit and then returned, landing perfectly upright on a landing pad. It was a moment that changed spaceflight forever, slashing costs by magnitudes. This led to the Starship project, the fully reusable spacecraft designed for Mars. At Tesla, he didn't just build an electric car, he built an ecosystem. The launch of the Model S in 2012 shattered every preconception about electric vehicles, winning every major automotive award. He built a global network of superchargers and pioneered over-the-air software updates. He vertically integrated the supply chain with massive gigafactories, driving down the cost of batteries. Tesla's market value soared, making it the most valuable car company in the world. And his ventures didn't stop there. He founded SolarCity to accelerate solar energy, the Boring Company to rethink urban transit, and Neuralink to merge the human brain with computers. Through it all, his work ethic was legendary. He often worked 100-hour weeks, sleeping on a couch at the factory to solve production line issues personally. He applied a physics-based first principles thinking to every problem, breaking things down to their fundamental truths and reasoning up from there rather than relying on analogies. The man who was once broke had built an interconnected empire aimed at nothing less than securing and advancing the future of humanity. Today, the boy who was told his ideas were impossible is consistently ranked as one of the 2 or 3 richest individuals on the planet. His net worth, measured in the hundreds of billions, is a direct reflection of the staggering value he has created. But more importantly, his wealth is a byproduct of his tangible impact on humanity. He didn't just build a company, he forced the entire global automotive industry to pivot towards electric vehicles. He didn't just start a rocket company, he single-handedly revived ambition in space exploration, making it accessible and commercial. He has fundamentally altered the trajectory of transportation on Earth and ignited a new chapter for humanity in space. The man who once coded through the night in a tiny office now commands a constellation of thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit and builds cars that improve with a software update. From the brink of bankruptcy, he built empires that are actively shaping the future he once only dreamed of as a lonely boy in South Africa. The story of Elon Musk proves that one person, armed with a powerful vision and an unwavering commitment to first principles, can change the course of industries and force the world to dream bigger. So, what can we learn from the 30-year journey of a coder to a world changer? The principles are radical, yet universally applicable. Here are the 5 key strategies you can emulate from Elon Musk's success. 1. Apply first principles thinking. Musk doesn't accept that something is too expensive or impossible because that's how it's always been done. He breaks problems down to their fundamental truths and builds solutions from the ground up. He asked, "What is a rocket made of? What is the market value of those materials?" realizing he could build one for a fraction of the cost. The lesson? Stop reasoning by analogy, tear down the assumptions, and build your solution from the truth. 2. Set a hardcore work ethic as your baseline. Musk's famous 80 to 100-hour work weeks weren't a temporary grind. They were the baseline required to achieve the impossible. He believes that if you work 50-hour weeks while your competitors work 40, you will achieve 50% more in a year. This isn't about burnout. It's about the undeniable mathematical advantage of extreme, focused effort when you're pursuing a massive goal. 3. Embrace the production hell grind. He is open about the production hell and design hell required to innovate. While others seek easy, frictionless paths, Musk expects and pushes through unimaginable difficulty. The strategy is to reframe extreme hardship not as a sign of failure, but as the necessary proving ground for a breakthrough. If it were easy, everyone would do it. 4. Bet the company on your conviction. He repeatedly risked his entire fortune on his beliefs. After selling PayPal, he put $100 million into SpaceX, then his last $40 million into Tesla. This isn't reckless gambling, it's the ultimate expression of belief in your own first principles research. The lesson is to have the courage to go all in on the missions you truly believe in. 5. Build a vertical monopoly on your vision. Musk doesn't just build cars, he builds the factories, the batteries, the charging network, and the software. He doesn't just launch rockets, he builds them, launches them, and operates the satellites. This vertical integration gives him ultimate control and speed. For you, this means don't just build a product. Own the entire experience and ecosystem around it to create an unbreachable competitive moat. These strategies aren't just for building rockets, they are a blueprint for thinking bigger, working smarter, and making a dent in the universe. To execute these strategies, you need the right systems. Whether you sell digital or physical products, most entrepreneurs waste time juggling separate tools for their website, marketing, and sales. The solution is Go High Level, an all-in-one marketing and CRM system that lets you run your entire business, funnels, email, SMS campaigns, AI agents, and social media scheduling. You can even manage your client communication from a single portal on your phone. If you're ready to systemize your growth and build a business that scales, check out Go High Level. You can find my link for a trial in the description below. If you enjoyed this deep dive and learned something valuable, please watch our next video on the success stories of millionaires. Thank you for watching,